Good morning, FlossTube. This is Deb or Deborah, Science Knitster. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back. I know we have a few new subscribers, so thank you for subscribing, and I hope you comment and enjoy my videos. Let's see, there's something else. Yeah, we're still just hovering above 300. I guess that's just the way it's going to be, and that's okay. So I really appreciate all of you that keep coming back and watching, and I'll just keep going as long as I have time and so forth. So I know I'm a little bit later than I had planned. August got super busy with the end of summer term and beginning of the fall semester. We have a 3-day weekend in the United States this weekend. I think the Canadians do too. We have Labor Day tomorrow, so happy Labor Day for those who are celebrating. And so I thought I'd take advantage of having an extra weekend day this weekend to catch up on other things, including this. Another reason I haven't recorded is I haven't been stitching on a lot of different things. But I do have some updates, and I'm also going to talk a little bit about what I plan to do for Sampler September. So let me start off. I actually, not long after I guess like within the week of when I last filmed, I did finish The Christmas Cat by Bent Creek. And here it is. So I stitched this on some cream linen that I had. The chart came with, it was the chart and the beads for the neck. I don't know if you can see that. I think that shows it better. So I forget when I started this. I think it was Christmas time, sometime in December of 2021, if I remember correctly. But there, it's a finish, and I've posted it on Instagram and Facebook already, but so I'm thinking about either a flat finish, flat fold type finish, or a stand-up. Chunky little stand-up might be fun. I can put it on my mantle. But anyway, so that's The Christmas Cat by Bent Creek. I used the called for colors except for the body of the cat. I switched that out. I think it called for, I can't see, I have it put it back in a way that I can't see what the colors are. But I think it called for one of the Gentle Arts gold, tarnished gold, I think. And I didn't have very much of that, and I was using it for a sampler that I was working on. So I switched out for Weeks Schneckley, I recall. Okay, so, and usually I start off with what beverage I'm drinking, and I forgot because I was so excited to show you the cat. Excuse my slurp. So we joined the pumpkin spice crowd this morning. Finally, it's September now, although it's still very hot here in South Texas. And so I have my version of a pumpkin spice latte, which is basically a cafe au lait, half coffee, half milk, and a little bit of sweetener, and then I sprinkle pumpkin pie spice on top, so it smells like a pumpkin spice latte. Anyway, and I think I also forgot to mention that this is my 40th FlossTube. I checked, and it's number 40, so that's kind of exciting. Okay, so what else have I been up to? I did have a couple of new starts since my last FlossTube. I think this was a new start. If it wasn't a new start since my last FlossTube, I had started it not long before my last FlossTube. So this is a freebie from Barbara Anna. I think you can still get it if you go to her Instagram. She has one of those, what do they call them, link trees or whatever, and it has links to several of her freebie patterns. So this was one of the ones that she put out right near the beginning of the pandemic, so back in 2020. So this is the key. I am stitching it on a piece of, I believe it's the colorway, the color is called Mediterranean Sea. It's a, I can't remember if it's a Witchelt or a Zweigart. It looks like it's Witchelt. So that's where I am so far. It's charted in DMC, and that's what I'm using. And my colors are here. So I think I've mentioned I'm sort of in the transition of going from bobbinating to thread drops. And I also have a lot of threads, many of which I inherited in floss away bags. And I'm using a color coordinated thread bed from my friend Susan. See that? Isn't that the perfect color? Oh, let me put this. Okay, so this is part of the Animal in a Dress Sow. I've got a whole collection of these going. So yes, see how color coordinated that is? Just perfect. Thank you, Susan. So that's one of two new starts, and the other one is a teeny tiny new start. Let's see, where am I putting these? I'm putting them over here. Okay, so this is in a huge big bag. This bag I think is meant to hold quilt blocks. Another coordinated thread bed from my friend Susan. So this is from the Fat Quarter Shop's Bountiful Stitch Along. I'm also doing, well, I bought the kit to do the quilt along. I don't have my sewing room set up yet, so I haven't actually started working on the quilt, but I really, really want to do it. I love the colors. And now I forget how this opens. This way. I had it upside down. So here are all the colors. They're all Classic Colorworks colors. And I have a very teeny tiny start. So I often will buy these mystery alongs. Oh wow, it's even less than I thought. And generally, I'm the same way with knitting too, and even quilting. When I do a mystery thing, I often will wait until the whole pattern is out, because I want to see, is it something I really want to stitch or not? Or quilt, or whatever it is. Knit. I think I have done a couple of sock mysteries where I actually did knit along, because, you know, you're always going to wear socks, right? Even here in South Texas, we're always going to wear socks. So teeny tiny start. I don't know why. Oh, yes, I do. So, oh, I should have, let me find the picture here. Sorry about that. Should have already had this up on my Kindle so you could see. Yeah, I'll Dropbox. But because it's a PDF. Needlework. My apologies. So you can see the actual design. Let's see, Fat Quarter Shop, Bountiful Sow. This should show the whole thing. There it is. There you go. So, so I decided to start in the center. So I could have started this, I forget when this came out, in the spring, March, April, something like that. I could have started this then, but the first piece was the whole border. And I really don't enjoy stitching borders all at once. And then when the next one came out, I was like, maybe I want to start in the center. I think what it was, I saw one of Kimberly Jolly's floss tubes, and she was already in the center, and I was like, oh, maybe it'd be cool to start in the center. So I got in my head I needed to start this one in the center. So that's what I did. And I didn't get very far, obviously. So I'm stitching this on some white, I think it's Zweigart, or it might be Charles Craft, 14 count Ada, because I had some, and here's my thread bed, and in my thread bed I have a needle minder that's a sheep, because I love yarn too. So that's that. So that's the Bountiful Sal. I really need to put my threads on a ring, but it is what it is right now. Okay, that one's too big to go on the arm of my chair. Okay, so that's my finishes, my new starts. And here are the things that I've been working on in the last, let's see, it's been 5 or 6 weeks, right? Maybe more. So the main thing I've been working on is Jane Hardy. So here are my threads, and I've got this nice little bling thing of Jane Hardy, the sampler from Socks for Mom. Very nice. I'll definitely order from her again. It's the first time I had ordered from her. Let's see if I can get this situated. I don't iron my stuff, so forgive me for the wrinkles. I stitch in hand these days. Used to always use Q snaps or some other hoop, or there we go. So this is Jane Hardy. Pretty much I'm just filling in the flowers and filling in the grass. I am not going to put the name in because I messed up things up here a little bit. The house is a little too high, if I remember correctly. But so I'm going to put the year, and I might put my initials somewhere, either big or I always put my initials somewhere, but I might do it more unobtrusively. I haven't decided yet, but I'll probably put the year up here once I'm about done with the fill in. So yeah, so this is on 36 count ballet slippers by Fox and Rabbit, and I'm using the called for DMC. And yes, I do have a coordinating thread bed from my friend Susan. And my needle minder is this little cup of tea. So I often will keep a needle minder with a project that I'm working on or planning to work on fairly often. Otherwise, I have just sort of ones by my stitching chair here. I'm actually filming today from my stitching chair, so I'm going to keep this handy. I also worked a little bit, we'll do samplers first. I worked a little bit on, very little bit since the last time I filmed, recorded, whatever you want to call this. This is Mary Gibson from Whilst I Was Naps. It was a exclusive through the Home Something and Needlework group on Facebook. No, I'm forgetting. Anyway, and it was only available, like you had to pre-order it from Hobby House. But my understanding is that this will be available publicly next year. So I bought the whole kit. The kit I bought came with Wheat's Dye Works threads. I wanted to do the over dyes because I enjoy working with those. Okay, and this is a little bling that came with it if you ordered the full kit. You were among the original folks to order. It even had a little bag that it came with. Of course, I'm using a thread bed from Susan. And, oh, there. And I got the 40 count, and if I remember correctly, I can double check because they write it on the bag. That's it. 40 count Thornfield by Needle and Flax. And this was my first time working with needle and flax, and it is very nice to work with. I don't remember where I was last time I showed this. I think I put in some of the alphabet. With things being pretty busy, I've been trying to mainly focus on things that didn't require a lot of brain power. But yeah, so this is a really pretty one. And I wish I had more time to work on it, but I know I will later in the fall. And I will get back to it because it's very pretty. So watch, if you missed the exclusive, don't worry. As I said, my understanding is it's going to be available sometime next year, I think. It just depends on when Christina, when the exclusive ends and when Christina decides she's going to release it, generally. Okay, there's one other sampler I worked on a little bit since last time, and that is Rose Ada Featherstone from another Hands Across the Sea. I don't know if I said Jane Hardy is from Hands Across the Sea. So this is Rose Ada. It was the stitch along last year. I'm always a year behind in my stitch alongs with the our sampler years group. That's just the way it is. So here's the beautiful thread. So this was a over dye conversion that the Hobby House did. This was an exclusive through them. I'm not sure if it's still available. I know earlier in the year they did still have at least some of the charts. And let's see, myself situated here. So I'm stitching this on 40 count. This is, I'm gonna have to look up what it is. But it's a 40 count, and as I said, it's the Hobby House's over dye conversion. I've just really been into colorful samplers this last year. So let me look real quick what the color of the linen is. It is Seraphim Antique Lace, and it is 40 count. 36 count used to be my favorite, but I'm really enjoying the things that I'm stitching on 40 count these days. Since I stitch in hand now, I find it's a little bit easier to kind of scoop my needle. I'm not left-handed, but I do stitch left-handed because I have issues with my right wrist, and I have to do a lot of typing and so forth with my job. And so it's like, well, all of the crafty things I like to do require my right hand also. And color-coordinated thread bed and color-coordinated needle minder. So those of you that have been watching for a long time, you're probably tired of me explaining why I stitch left-handed, but yeah. So I figured, well, let me see if I can stitch left-handed, because when I'm stitching with a stand, I normally stitch two-handed, or I used to, because I'd be in a Q-snap or on a scroll rods. And I still do occasionally certain things do that way, especially some of the specialty stitches are easier to do that way. Or when I'm working on a needlepoint piece, but I tend to stitch mainly left-handed now to save my right hand, save my right wrist. So that's Rosetta Featherstone. I'm hoping to finish this one this year, but we'll see. We'll see how much stitching time I have later in the fall. And then the last thing I've been working on, this one I just picked up on September 1st. And I don't have my threads on a ring because there's just a few. What happened to the brown? Because there's only one thread left. I have more. So these are the colors. And the design is homegrown. It's So Emma from the Fat Quarter Shop. It was one of their stitch quarterlies back in 2020. And this was gifted to me by my friend Susan. Thank you, Susan. So I'm kind of doing not only Sampler September, she even gave me this bag. I'm doing Sunflower September. So I've got the H done. I've started working on the E. Getting the sunflower done. I need to finish that sort of light brown beigey color and then put in, there's some orange, the darker yellow sort of orange color. There's some petals that are like in the background that are in that color. So I thought I'd start on the E. And then as I finish up the sunflower, otherwise I'll be slogging through the M and the E. It might just be fun to do, you know, a little bit on the sunflower and then a bunch on a letter. So here it is again. So I just started the E yesterday. I stitched on it for a little bit before I went to bed. Okay, so we got that. So so that's what I've been working on. So not a lot. I do have, so I'm gonna stick with the cross stitch stuff. I do have a little knitting to show at the end. I do have a little bit of sciencey stuff to talk about at the end. So interesting story that article that I found recently that I'm gonna sometime this semester share with my students because it's really fascinating. Okay, so first, I'm trying to be very frugal these days because I'm saving up for some special things for next year. There's a retreat I want to go on, and with my friend Susan, and some other things I want to do next year. So I'm trying to save money for that. So I'm trying to be frugal. So really the only new things I have bought recently are, I did make one purchase from the Needlework Expo, but it hasn't arrived yet. It should arrive soon, so I'll show that in my next video. But I've always, enjoyed, let's see, I think you can see that, Country Cottage and Little House Needleworks, and I live on the Gulf of Mexico, so I love beachy things. And my dad was in the Coast Guard when I was growing up, so we've always lived near large bodies of water. So I love beachy things. So I just had to start collecting this beach boardwalk series. I'm on a monthly subscription for it from the Fat Quarter Shop. And there's another one. So that first one I showed you was the ice cream shop. I don't remember which order they came in. I did not keep them in order. I forgot to show a couple of these. I think one of them I had last time. The surf shop. I don't know if you can see that very well. Hopefully you can. And then the bike shop. I think there's like 7 in this series. So there's 4 more to come. Like I said, they come monthly. So that's pretty much all I've been purchasing. There's been a bunch of really pretty stuff. Jacob from Modern Folk Embroidery just put out some gorgeous things. There's been some new samplers from Hands Across the Sea. Lots of really pretty stuff. But I figured I would wait for a while, and it's not like I need anything new to stitch. Okay, so that's new. And then I'm really excited to share. I won a prize. So in June and July, I participated in Colorado Cross Stitcher, Sherry, her cross stitch summer camp, or cross stitch camp, summer cross stitch camp, whatever it was, whatever she called it. I didn't have time in August. I actually had planned to. If you watch my videos, you know I had a plan. But I decided not to start that one because I knew I wouldn't finish it, and I wanted... there was parts of it, there were a lot of color changes, the thing that I chose, and I was like, you know what? My brain just can't handle this right now. But I will definitely stitch this either later in the year or sometime next year. It was October House's Honey Fair. And I love bee skeps and bees, so I will definitely stitch that one. I just don't know when. So I had finished both my projects in June and July, and I think I don't remember what the rules were, but I think it was something like if you finished what you started, and each month there was a different theme. And the theme in June was birds. The theme in July was something that grows. Well, both months I did a Christmas bird related thing. And July, which is what I won my prize for, there's a drawing. I guess there was a drawing like at the end of each month for those that actually had finishes. And you might recall if you saw my last video, I think I showed it in the last one. It might have been the one before that. No, it would have been the last one. I showed Comfort and Joy, which I had just finished. Anyway, so I thought I just won this bag because that's all I could see in the picture that she said, you're the winner. But no, there was stuff in the bag when it arrived. So first, when it arrived, the package was kind of heavy. And I was like, I thought it was just a bag. There was a bag in the bag. So this is a little bag you can keep. This would be great for, like if you're just gonna go stitch in public somewhere, you could like put your stuff, your stitching accessories in here if you wanted to. I was thinking, could I fit a small knitting project in there? Probably not. And then there was this notebook, which I will definitely use. So it says souvenirs. And my family's originally from New Jersey, New York City area. So there you go. And then there were several charts, and many of them were from designers that I have liked for a really long time, like Heart and Hand. So this is the Bird in Hand series, Summer. So of course now I'm going to have to collect the other ones because I haven't collected this series yet. Because I'm a sucker for, and then there's a little bee skep on there. And it's kind of beachy too. So I'll probably stitch this one next summer. I'm thinking I could do that. And then those of you that watched for a while know that I like a lot of Bent Creek. And you saw I just finished the Christmas Cat. And this is one I don't have, the Watchful Angel. So you can see. This came out in 1997. I have no idea if it's still available. I'm thinking it is, but it may or may not be. You could check Hoffman or ask your local needle workshop. Of course, there was a nice little card to Thank me for participating. And then from Heartstring Samplery, Beth Twists, one of her small samplers, which I haven't collected yet. So this is great. I've been into stitching small samplers this year until I got into Jane Hardy, which I thought was a small sampler. Oh, I mean, it's not that big, but there's a lot of stitching in her. So that will be fun to do probably sometime next year. This is from Milady's Needle, which I'm not sure I have anything from them. So it's little sampler bands, which would be cool. I wonder if we could make like a little bracelet. Yeah, it's just called Sampler Bands Rule, because it's, I don't know if you can see, she has them mounted on rulers. I'm not sure I'll do that. Oh, that might be fun to do one and keep in your stitching box. Or you could just kind of put them together in a little band sampler. And then, oh, this is, I have a few cottage garden things, but that's a gorgeous woodpecker. And we're bird watchers. My husband's really into it. So I definitely will stitch this. And then from Twin Peak Primitives, this one, sort of a modern sampler like thing, called Amish Country. That's really sweet. Twin Peak Primitives. So thank you very much, Sherry, Colorado Cross Stitcher. I enjoyed participating in the camp. And I did participate a little bit last summer too, but I can't remember if I finished anything or not. I started that. I did eventually. I'm not sure I did it within the time frame. But yeah, so that's what I've been up to. I did want to share one other thing with you stitching wise before I talk about my September plans. And then I have a little knitting to share. And then, as I said, a little sciencey stuff. So I'm a member of the Embroiderers Guild of America, and in the June and September issues of their magazine, the Needle Arts, what it's called, there's a two-part article on the history, making a tapestry called the Plymouth Tapestry. So it appears to be in the style of the why I can't think these days of why am I drawing a blank? The Bayeux Tapestry in France. That's the, you know, the history of the Norman invasion of England. What's really cool about this is, you know, so it's the Plymouth Tapestry, so it's obviously telling the story of Plymouth. But what I found really cool is that it doesn't just focus on the Pilgrims. It includes the history of the indigenous people that were there when the Pilgrims arrived, including a very important part of their history called the Great Dying. And the way they went about planning this, they have advisors from the Wampanoag, who are the tribe or one of the tribes that lived in the area of Plymouth, and there are still people in the area, and so they are including them, and the museum that this is being housed in, what is it called? The Pilgrim Hall Museum in Plymouth, Massachusetts. There's also an advisory council for the tribe, the Wampanoag tribe, that is involved with the museum. So I thought that was really cool. If you live in that area, it's according to the articles, the different panels that are already completed are they're shown on a rotating basis, so you can see what's there. So you could go back different times and see more panels. But I am, I'm hoping to, follow this story and see more about it as, as it comes to completion. And they tell more and more of the story. So that's really, really cool stuff. You can see how our stitching can also be involved in not just understanding history from the stitch, like looking at historical stitchery, but also used to tell history and teach the future generations about our history. So that was pretty cool. So plans for September. So I know I've already shown this, but I'm going to be pretty busy professionally and personally in the month of September. So I don't know how much time I'm going to have, but my goal is to finish Jane Hardy in September. So I think last year, what was I working on? I was working on Martha Dawson, and I have to go back and check, but I think I was able to finish Martha in September. I wasn't quite as busy as I'm going to be this September. So I'm involved in a couple of different things and also finishing up some stuff for my old job, and also planning a new course for the spring. So anyway, busy time, but I always try to stitch at least a little bit every day. Don't always make it. Sometimes I'm just too tired. But so this is gonna be my main focus. If I do get tired of Jane, of doing lots of fill-in, then I may work on either Rose Ada Featherstone, which I said I'd like to finish by the end of the year, or I might work a little bit on Mary Gibson, put in some more of the alphabet. Alphabet doesn't take too much brain power. But I'm also planning to work a little bit on the sunflower. Don't think it'll be that hard to work on that E or do a little fill in on the sunflower. So that's pretty much for stitching. If you are participating in Sampler September, why don't you write in the comments what you're going to be working on? And if you're not, what are you going to be working on? I know there's folks out there that are involved in a couple other stitch-alongs. There's a Nora Corbett stitch-along. I love seeing other people's Nora Corbett's and Mirabilia. It's just not something I would stitch myself, but I can truly appreciate all the work and the beautiful. They are beautiful, truly beautiful. Just not something I think I would enjoy stitching them. It's just I have no idea where I'd put them. So I'm kind of more into primitive and folky, as you probably can see from the things that I choose to stitch. Not always, but often. Okay, so that's kind of it for stitching. I did want to show, excuse my reach. I have worked a little bit, and I think I forgot to show this last time. I can't remember if I did or not. But this is Hitchhiker by Martina Bem, Stitch Mitch. And it's in a fingering weight, so sock weight yarn from Three Irish Girls from years and years and years ago. I can't even imagine that this color is still available. I believe it's called Kelly. It's on their Adorn sock, which I do believe they still carry. They just don't carry this colorway anymore. But this particular pattern is, again, it's called Hitchhiker. And she's got a couple related patterns. I think there's like a Hitchhiker 2 or something else with Hitchhiker in the name. But they're great for these variegated yarns. You get interesting patterns. But this is a real easy one to work on when you don't have any brain power. I took it with me to some meetings. So our first week back before, right, the week before the first week of classes. At most colleges I've worked at, faculty have to report the week before, and there's meetings and all kinds of stuff going on. And so I brought this with me, and when I didn't have to be taking, if it was a meeting I didn't have to take notes on, something I didn't necessarily need to keep in my mind for later, it's just, kind of updates or something, I worked on it a little bit. And then last Sunday had a family Zoom and worked on it there. So I'm gonna move this marker to up here. So next time I show this, you'll see how much farther I've gone. I'm closing in on the end. I'm not sure if I have another skein of this color. I'm trying to remember. Oh, I think there's enough yardage in this one. So you're supposed to, in the pattern, these are called teeth. For those of you that either don't knit or haven't knitted this particular pattern. And there's supposed to be 42 of them. I think I'm on 30 some, if I remember correctly. I didn't count right before I got on. So, and I'm not going to take your time to count now. So that's the knitting I've been doing. I'm almost, I've been like this close to being done on a pair of socks that I started. When did I start them? 2019, 2020, something like that. But then I didn't knit for a long time because of that issue with my wrist. I still can't knit for long periods of time, but I can do short bits. Anyway, I'd really like to get those done soon. I'm closing in, literally closing in on the closing of the toe. I generally knit sock patterns from the cuff down. I know some people like to go the opposite way, but I generally like to knit cuff down. Anyway, so that's what's been going on with me, crafty wise. I'll do it next time. I do have my spinning wheel legs right there, but you can't, there's stuff in the way. And I haven't done any spinning recently, but I'm working on a project and I need to get back to that. Even if it's just 5 minutes when we're watching TV at night or something. Anyway, so final thing, Science Corner. So recently I saw an article about dragonfly wings, and apparently one thing I didn't know about dragonfly wings is apparently they've been known as being very antibacterial, bacteria don't infect them. And there's been some recent work using different techniques from engineering where they figured out why. So apparently dragonfly wings are not a smooth surface. They've got all these little peaks and valleys in them, and apparently the bacteria get caught on these peaks and valleys and trying to dislodge that. Actually the surface is such that it actually makes the cells break open and kills them. And so they're thinking they can use this basically, in biomedical engineering to make the surfaces of important things that need to be as clean as possible, and they always need to disinfect them to try to replicate that. So I thought that was really cool. So this was just an article on a website. I haven't seen any published articles about it, but I thought, it sounds pretty cool. We'll see what happens. Anyway, thank you so much for listening. This one's pretty short for me, which is probably good. I'm not sure when I'll next have time to record. I'm hoping early to mid-October. But if you don't see me in October, don't worry. I'll be back in early November at the latest and give you an update on, did I actually finish Jane Hardy or am I still working on her? And in anything else I've been up to crafty wise. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed seeing what I've been working on, and I hope I see you, you know, either for those of you that have your own FlossTube, I hope I see you on your FlossTube, or see you on social media. So just remember, please take time to be kind to yourself and always be kind to your neighbor. Bye.